Hi, ArcfieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday morning, January the 7th. It is a cold and windy day throughout much of the eastern part of the nation. Strong northwest winds on the backside of what is now an Atlantic Ocean storm system. That storm became a major snow and ice producer all the way from the Central Plains to the Mid-Atlantic region. The hardest hit area in the Mid-Atlantic was the southern part of the Mid-Atlantic region from, let's say, D.C. across the Delmarva Peninsula into southern New Jersey. There was some snow accumulation, however, throughout much of Pennsylvania, much of New Jersey as well. Even New York City came in with a little bit less than an inch of snow on Monday. Again, strong northwest winds in its wake, and Arctic cold has penetrated all the way down into the deep south. We'll take a look at its current surface map in a moment here. We've talked about this particular pattern has the ability to produce some severe cold all the way down into the deep south, and there is a threat for accumulating snow late this week across Texas, Arkansas, into Tennessee, and we'll talk about that also over the next few minutes. Here's a look at the current snow cover map across the nation and covers Canada as well, and this whole area right here was really added to significantly, of course, over the last couple of days with that storm system that, again, originated over the Central Plains. This next storm system late this week into the weekend will start off much farther to the south, potentially over the northwestern Gulf of Mexico. And again, it can produce some snow in this area right here. Let's say Dallas across Little Rock into Memphis. This area could be added to with respect to snow cover over the next few days. Cold air right now is penetrated all the way down into the Gulf of Mexico. Well, in fact, let's take a look at the latest surface map here. This is from NOAA's Mesoscale Analysis website. Right here, here's the state of Florida right here, and you have this freezing line, the 32-degree line, all the way down to the Gulf Coast, almost literally right along the coast here, all the way into Louisiana and Texas. And again, you can see these wind barbs here. They're all showing that northerly flow of air that extends from New England all the way down into the Gulf of Mexico region, and this freezing line right up along the coast. Very cold conditions down into the deep south, and that helps set the stage for the potential of accumulating snow and ice down in places like Texas, Arkansas, into Tennessee later on in this week. Well, let's start off by looking at the 0Z run of the GFS, a conventional version of the GFS here with respect to this upcoming storm system. First, North America view of the 500 millibar height anomalies. And right now, again, it looks like it could be a significant storm for places like Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee, with respect to snow and ice. And some snow is likely, I would say, in the Mid-Atlantic region later Friday night into the day on Saturday. However, right at this moment, it does not appear that that storm system will intensify quickly enough to become a major snow producer in the Mid-Atlantic region later Friday night into Saturday, and we'll take a look at some of the reasons why over the next couple of minutes. Of course, that can change. We still have a few days to go, but here we are starting off the day here on Tuesday. A lot of blues showing up. These are lower heights than normal, basically where some upper level low pressure systems exist. There's a system right here over the southern part of California. Now we will move forward here in time. That continues kind of to dive to the south and east all the way down to the Baja California region by a later Wednesday night time frame. Then it slides into the south central states, and it is at this time that low pressure will intensify over the northwestern Gulf of Mexico. And this is the system that can produce that snow all the way down into Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee. And we'll notice here as it moves to the north and east, it's what we call a positively tilted trough axis in this particular time frame here, late Friday night going into early Saturday. Oftentimes I'll bring up the phrase negatively tilted trough axis. That's when it is oriented basically northwest to southeast, but in this particular case it is a positively tilted trough axis as it slides into the Mississippi and Ohio Valley by the early part of the weekend. And that is kind of a suppressing type of activity in the upper part of the atmosphere. It does not allow for significant or quick intensification of surface low until it shifts into that negatively tilted position here. So let's clear the deck here and go a little bit forward in time here now into the day on Saturday. Kind of a positively tilted trough axis on Saturday. Finally, by the time it gets to late Saturday night, Sunday, it starts to become a negatively tilted trough axis. That upper level low kind of intensifies, becomes a closed off system by late Saturday night into the day on Sunday, and correlated with that will be a late in the game here intensifying surface low pressure system. So again, at the moment here, this system appears to be one that will be kind of suppressed in its intensity when it passes by the mid-Atlantic region. Again, late Friday night into the day on Saturday. Some of the model runs from early yesterday had it intensifying much quicker, and that would allow for the possibility of a major snowfall in the mid-Atlantic region. Right now, that is looking less likely, not impossible, but less likely than it did, let's say, 24 hours ago. Now, let's move forward a little bit more in time here. That intensifies as it continues to move into the northwest Atlantic by Sunday, and then all the way into the day on Monday. Still have some widespread upper level trough and over the U.S. and kind of centered over the south central part of Canada. Well, let's take a look at the 850 millibore temperature anomalies from the 0Z run of the GFS. Again, using that North America viewpoint, a lot of colder than normal conditions, virtually covering the entire nation right now. A little bit out across the interior west, and a lot of below normal temperatures in the eastern 2/3 of the nation. And again, that extends all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. We saw the freezing line into northern Florida this morning, cutting across the Gulf Coast all the way into southeastern Texas. Now, let's move forward. We are still in a cold pattern for sure for the next few weeks. Again, not every day will be colder than normal, but if you take a 5 or 10 day period in the central or eastern U.S. over the next 20 days or so, likely to have a below normal long stretch of time here. Here we go into Wednesday and Thursday. Still some very chilly air hanging on into the day on Thursday across the East Coast. And notice a lot of below normal conditions over the central states here. And again, this is a time frame right here where you could get some decent snowfall, let's say across northeastern Texas, Arkansas, into Tennessee from that what should be a newly developing storm system over the northwestern Gulf of Mexico. That colder than normal condition extends into the eastern states early this weekend, and by the time we get to next Tuesday, let's say 1 week from right now, kind of a similar map here with much of the nation below normal. This is a week from right now, all the way out to Tuesday, January 14th. Well, let's wrap up with the surface forecast maps and look at this tight pressure gradient here. These black lines represent equal areas of pressure, isobars, and whenever these lines are tight on this kind of a forecast map, that indicates strong wind flow. In this particular case, basically north to south, pumping that cold air from Canada all the way down into the Gulf of Mexico region as we speak here on Tuesday morning. This pressure gradient, the difference in pressure between this very strong high pressure area over south central Canada and a departing low now out over the open waters of the western Atlantic. So let's move forward in time here. Very cold next few days basically in the eastern states, and then attention will turn to the south central U.S. and here we start to see some moisture gathering by late Wednesday into the day on Thursday. And here we go by Thursday morning, some blues showing up all the way into the northern part of Texas on Thursday. Even some ice, a possibility here. And the surface low is basically centered over the Gulf of Mexico. And again, this is quite a bit farther south than this previous storm system, which originates somewhere over the central plains here. But this is the origin of that next storm system late this week. Let's move forward in time here and watch what happens. This is again using the 0Z run of the GFS. Here we go. Snow breaking out across portions of Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, maybe some ice as well. certainly can be accumulating snow places like Dallas, Little Rock, into Memphis here. And here's that storm system by the time we get to Friday morning. A nice looking low along the northern Gulf Coast at this particular time. Still a lot of cold air situated across the eastern states. It does move to the north eddies and certainly can produce some accumulating snow later Friday night into the day on Saturday in places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. But notice the millibar here, 999 at this particular time. Not doing what some of the model runs early yesterday had it doing, not rapidly intensifying by this particular time frame. Again, there can be accumulating snow in the Mid-Atlantic region at this time, but perhaps not the blockbuster that was on the table from some of the model runs early yesterday. And then it does start to intensify pretty quickly here. It could end up being quite a snow producer for southern New England here. This is later in the day on Saturday night. Notice that millibar down to 983. So again, it does intensify, but the timing of that intensification is critical with respect to the location of the heaviest snow. Less likely, it appears right now, for the Mid-Atlantic, maybe in time for some significant snow across the southern part of New England. Let's say maybe even Long Island to Boston could get some decent snowfall out of this system. Continues to intensify by the time we get to Sunday morning here, 972, and then a 965 low by the time we get to Sunday morning. So again, this is a system we will monitor closely over the next couple of days. It does have the strong possibility of producing some snow and ice down in the deep south, places like northeastern Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee, and then some snow can move into the Mid-Atlantic region late Friday night, Saturday. Right now, it does not look like a major snow event. Still a few days away. Can become a significant snow producer, however, for southern New England, really all the way from Long Island to eastern part of New England on Saturday. Something we'll monitor closely over the next couple of days. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.